Okay, first of all, we need a definition. A system, and this is a concept, a system is a set of parts or objects that are structured and interrelated. They form a unique whole in an environment, and that environment is set apart by a boundary. Usually, the system is open rather than closed, and we'll make that distinction shortly. An open system is one that has exchange with its environment. A closed system is one that has no exchange with the environment. There really aren't many totally closed systems. The universe, of course, would be closed because there's nothing beyond it, so there's no way that it can, to our knowledge at least, that it can exchange with anything beyond itself. For practical purposes, probably a simpler example is a battery-operated watch. Well, as long as the battery works, there's no need for anyone to intervene for there to be any exchange with the environment. And so whether you wear the watch or not, it goes on keeping time, and the system functions as it's supposed to. And for all practical purposes is closed because there's no external exchange that's taking place. However, at the cellular level, and with plants, animals, humans, this is an open system because there's exchange that's taking place between the plant and its environment, between animals and other animals and aspects of the environment, between humans and all the things that go on around us. So open systems have exchange, closed systems do not. Okay, so Mr. Wink is going to introduce us to an open system, which in this case is a family. Say hello to the Johnson family. The Johnsons, along with Mr. Wink, are going to take you through step by step. So the first thing we need to do is meet the Johnsons so that we understand the parts of the system. Remember when we talked about types of theories and the system's approach to theory, we said A affects B, B affects C, affects D, and so forth. And here in the Johnson family, you have the A, B, C, D, E, and F, I guess it is, of the situation. The father, Stephen, the mother, Nicole, Susie headed for college, Nat, who's a slight bit rebellious for our purposes, and Snuffles, the family dog. So the family itself would be described as an open system. So here are the 7 characteristics of any system, whether it's your car, with exchange with the environment, whether it's you as a student at the University of Houston. There's wholeness, there's equilibrium, interdependence, equifinality, hierarchy, change and adaptability, and exchange with the environment. And those characteristics are characteristic of any system, whether it's a hospital, whether it's the University of Houston, whether it's a family environment, whether it's you in your workplace. Okay, that first characteristic, wholeness, simply means that the whole is greater than the sum of the individual parts. If your car is in the shop and all the parts are strung out, then the engine isn't working. It's only when those parts are all put back together again in the correct way that you get a sum that's greater than the parts, then the automobile will actually work again. So in this case, with the family meeting, it's more valuable, it's more useful, you get a greater outcome if the whole family is present and comes and takes part in the meeting. If only the dog and the father showed up, then it would be problematic and you wouldn't have the sum of all the parts, and you would have faulty outcomes most likely from that. The members of the family must work together to solve problems. It takes the effort of all the members of the family to be a family and to function as one. And there are other courses like crisis communication where we look at marginal and dysfunctional families, and those are cases where the family is not functioning as a whole in the way that it should. Okay, so here is the consideration of the problem, or the fact that the problem exists. They're wanting to talk about a vacation and all the people aren't there, so they don't have wholeness. The second characteristic of a system is interdependence. Each part affects other parts. The effects are rippling. So if the dog suddenly decides to hide Stephen and Nicole's car keys, problems are going to arise. If there are no car keys, Stephen can't go to work. Nicole can't drop the kids off at school. If Susie misses school, she'll also miss basketball practice, and Nat will be late for a test. If Stephen doesn't go to work, he may lose his job, while Nicole may never be able to go attend to her business, and on it goes. If the parents lose their jobs, then there will be no money and no food for the dog. The effects go on and on. So here's our visual. The dog's hiding the keys, Stephen can't go to work, Nicole can't do what she needs to do, the kids have their problems, and so on. This is an example of interdependence. Okay, the next characteristic, the third characteristic, is equilibrium, and this addresses how systems adapt and adjust to achieve homeostasis or balance. The family could spend a significant part of their savings from their bank account on a trip to Disneyland. However, with time, the family must try to earn the money back so that they can balance their account again. They must learn to balance their costs and expenses with their earnings. They may have to give up some other luxuries to make up for the money lost. In that sense, the family is learning to balance things, and they have to learn to adjust so that they can save money again and balance their bank account. Otherwise, they'll go broke. The fourth characteristic of a system is equifinality, and this refers to the goal-seeking behavior of a system. Stephen, Nicole, and Susie may all try to get Matt to start studying harder so that he'll do better in school. The family might be willing to do almost anything to get Nat to study, including bribing, pleading, begging. We'll look at compliance-gaining strategies later on. As long as their goal has not been achieved, the family will do anything that it can in order to see that their goal is accomplished, because the long-range goal of any system is survival, and it's important for the system to define and achieve its goals. And when those goals are not achieved, then behaviors have to be adjusted, actions have to be taken in order to compensate for the redirection and the problems in achieving those. So here's the example of equifinality. Everybody's approaching Nat one way or another, trying to get him to study and do better. Okay, the fifth characteristic of all systems is hierarchy, and this refers to power and control.